Cool.
All right, it looks like we can go ahead and get started. So, hey, everybody, thank you again for joining us today. My name is Samantha Fisher. I'm the head of marketing and recruiting here at Harrity, and I am joined by Harrity partner Neil Cardos and our software product manager, Sean Lillamo. So, Sean and his team of developers are the ones who have been creating this custom software, working tirelessly to make these awesome solutions for our attorneys and support teams, really with the goal of increasing efficiency, accuracy, and the quality of patent applications. This is really so that our professionals can spend more time on the value add portions of patent prep and cross. We never want to take away the human aspect. We do know that that adds a lot to the application. So the whole point of using AI is really to take away some of the menial tasks. This is going to increase productivity for both the individual and the firm at large and be good for everybody. So Neil's actually been using these tools since their inception. He's regularly testing out all the beta versions of the new updates that Sean and his team develop. So today, Neil's going to be demonstrating for you some of these tools to show you firsthand really how automation is transforming the patent process. We also have Sean on here to answer any technical questions kind of as we go through. We'd love for this to be as interactive as possible. We always love to hear suggestions on how to make the tools better that Sean can take back to his team. So please interact with us throughout, either through the chat box or the Q&A. We'll be watching for questions coming through, try to address them kind of as they are relevant. And then we'll spend some time at the end here too, having a Q&A session for any other questions that might not have been addressed throughout. The session is being recorded, so I'll send it to everybody afterwards, as well as all of our contact info. So if you have any follow-up questions, if you want to try out the tools, license them, or need another demo, just let us know. Without further ado, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Neil.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Samantha. So, hey, everybody. My name is Neil Cardos. I'm a partner at Harrity. I've been in the patent field for 14 years, with the past 9 of those with Harrity. And my team and I here draft a high volume of patent applications, and we use Patent Draftr every day to help with that. And so, like many of you, we've kind of always thought there's got to be a better way, right? So why am I copying, pasting, and reformatting claims to build a summary section and an abstract and a flowchart? Why am I racking my brain to try to remember that matter number of that similar app that I drafted so that I can copy the figure in the description over? And when I find it, like, please let it be the same figure number, right? So I don't have to renumber everything. Why am I spending all this time on the mundane, low value activities instead of focusing my time on the high value, fun stuff like drafting claims and explaining the invention? So we've been searching for a better way for years. We couldn't really find it, so we decided to create it with Patent Draftr. And so one thing to keep in mind as I do this demo is that there are some higher value activities when preparing patent applications, and there are also some lower value activities. And what we're really trying to do with Patent Draftr is to minimize the time spent on the low value activities, so that patent professionals can focus on the high value activities like exploring the invention with the inventors, drafting really good claims, fully fleshing out the details of the invention and all the alternatives in the patent application. And one other thing to keep in mind is that the tools aren't perfect, right? They work really well for Harrity, they work really well for our customers, but we're always encountering kind of new situations that require us to fine tune the tools. And we're regularly adding new features or fixes to kind of address those outlier situations. So as Samantha mentioned, we're also looking for feedback on any features that you'd like to see or anything you find particularly interesting. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me just a second. Sean, Samantha, if one of you, okay, got the thumbs up, cool. So Patent Draftr is, it's an add-in for Microsoft Word and for Microsoft Visio, because that's what most patent professionals are using and are familiar with. And it's a suite of tools that live in the ribbon here in Word. And I will show you what most of these tools do here on this demo. And the first thing I want to show you is it's a unified library for storage of templates or shell documents. And you can find that here under New Document in the ribbon. And you can really load this with any type of document that you want. In this demo, I'm primarily showing specification templates and claim templates, which can be different for different clients or for different attorneys or in-house counsel. But you can also use this for office action response templates, checklists, claim charts, really anything you want, any document that you want to standardize across your firm or company, or if you're a solo practitioner, any document that you want to reuse all the time. And everything here is searchable and filterable. For example, if I start typing demo application, it kind of narrows it down to those documents. So for this demo, I'm going to select this demo application, which is a patent application template with a title, some description here, and then at the very end, a few claims that have been drafted here, 7 claims. And in Visio, I'll show you, it's kind of the same flow here. I would click this new document in Visio. It's this demo Visio template. It's opening here on my other screen. Drag it over here. And this is really just a kind of a blank template with a blank figure and kind of a background page. So going back to my Word document, I've inserted a single claim set at the end with 7 claims. So when it comes to then drafting the rest of the claims, we have a few tools in the ribbon here to help with claim drafting. So the first thing I'll show you is this patent application panel. And on the left-hand side here, you see when I click this button, this panel pops up. And what this shows is a claim tree, and this can be used to kind of view the claims in a concise way, and also to view claim dependencies through indentations, and also to navigate. Like if I wanted to jump to claim 6, I just click there and it jumps down. I want to go back to claim 1, I jump back up. So that's this claims tab here. Stepping away from the claims for just a minute, I want to show this elements tab. And what this does is kind of like your proofreading tools, patent proofreading tools, to spot things like, lack of antecedent basis and reference numbers not matching up, acronyms not matching up. So for example, I have this red warning on this 710. And if I click on that, it'll show me, okay, I want to jump to these instances of it. The reason I'm getting this error is because I use this label 710 in connection with this device named first device and this other one named second device. And you can see when I click, it kind of navigates around. And so if I wanted to fix that, I just kind of click on it, change it here, and it'll reload and show me, okay, now this looks green. There's also this warning. So you have this test device 610 and test device 620, which might be okay. In some cases, you may have the same name associated with different reference numbers. So it's shown as a warning and not an error, but it's something for you at least to look at. And everything else kind of checks out here. So jumping back to my claims, down to claim 1. So one of the things that we can do with claims is to mirror them. What I have now is a set of method claims, which are, there's a few steps here: receiving by a network device, blah, 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 determining, and initiating, and then all the dependent claims. So if I click on this in this claim group here in the ribbon, I click mirror. It's going to give me a little wizard here that kind of walks me through what to do here. So it asks first, which claims do you want to mirror? I'm going to select all, click next, then ask, well, what kind of claims do you want to mirror these into? So let's say I want to take these method claims and put them into computer readable medium, device, and means for claims. I already have the method claims, so I don't need that. Let's say I want to change the order of these. I can actually click and drag this around so that the the computer readable medium claims could be in the middle, let's say, and device claims are the next set, and then computer readable medium, and then means for, and that's how it's going to generate them. So I click next. Then there's some intelligence built into the tool. So it's figured out that this network device is the device that I'm kind of interested in or that I care about. And it's done that by kind of parsing through this claim and figuring out that these steps are done by a network device. So then I click next, and I could change that if I wanted to put in a different device name. I could have clicked in that box and changed it. So now it goes and inserts the other claims. So this claim 8, because it's figured out the network device is what I care about. It's a network device comprising, and there's some kind of customizable language in the body of the claim here with memory and processors that's customizable. But then you see I went from receiving by a network device, a network configuration profile, determining, initiating, to the correct conjugation of these verbs where we have processors configured to receive, determine, and initiate. It's taken the network device out here because that's been popped into the preamble. And I have all my dependencies. So claim 9 is the network device of claim 8, so on. You see here I have 12, claim 12 depends from claim 11, and 13 depends from 12. That's because back up here, I had claim 5 depending from claim 4, claim 6 depending from claim 5. So it kind of maintains all the dependencies. And same thing throughout. So the computer readable medium claim, again, there's some language here that's customizable. And then, receive, determine, initiate. And then the preambles of this are right. The dependencies are correct. If I jump down to my means for claim, it's means for receiving, means for determining, and so on throughout the, and it does it for the dependent claims too. So this is the apparatus of claim 26, further comprising means for monitoring, means for initiating, and so on. So another thing we can do is, let's say there's a claim in here that you change your mind or you get some feedback to remove the claim. We can delete out this claim. You can see now here, this claim 8 moves to claim 7. Now our dependencies, to fix those, we just click here, numbers, update claim numbers. And you'll see now this claim 8 depends from claim 7 and so on. So I jump down to claim 21, 22 is the apparatus of claim 21. So as I mentioned, we're kind of saving time on all the annoying little things like duplicating claims and renumbering claims so that the attorney or agent can really focus their time on drafting really good claims. And even if, we have some clients that like, direct mirrors of the claims, and some clients that want tweaks across different independent claims for claim scope variation. For those clients, we'll use this and then we'll just make our tweaks. So we at least have a good starting point. And so then after the claims are done, we'll move on to drafting the drawings and the specification, and we have tools to help with that as well. So in the ribbon, there are 4 tools here on this specification group that auto-generate parts of the specification. And there are 2 tools here that auto-generate drawings. And one of these tools also auto-generates part of the specification. So I'll kind of walk you through each of these. And I'll close out this panel. So the first thing is an abstract generator. So I just click here. There's a couple different styles of abstract. If I want it as a single sentence or separate sentences, I can choose that. And more styles can always be added and customized. So for this demo, I'll pick this separate sentences. It asks me what claim I want to use for the basis of the abstract. I'll just use that claim 1. Again, it senses what's the important device here. And then it's going to generate the abstract. If it was longer than 150 words, it would have popped up with a warning to let me know that. And here we have the abstract. In some implementations, a network device may receive a network configuration profile, blah, blah, blah. End of sentence. The network device may determine, blah, blah, blah. So each of these are kind of broken out into separate sentences. Another tool, I'll pop now to the beginning of the document, and I'll put my cursor right here in the summary section. And I'll click here, summary. Let's just say I want this generic summary. Again, it asks me what claims I want to use for the summary. I'll just pick all these. In this particular one that I have, it's just going to extract out the language from the independent claims. But there's other options if you want a summary with all the dependent claims. Again, this stuff is customizable. And the one I selected is just showing these as a single sentence. But again, like the abstract, they can be separate sentences. And so what we get here is in some implementations, the method includes receiving, blah, blah, blah. There's a paragraph there for that claim 1, a paragraph here for the network device independent claim, a paragraph here for our computer readable medium claim, a paragraph here for our apparatus with means for claim. So all that's been inserted. This word in some implementations, that's again, everything's kind of customizable. Some clients like this term, some people like the term embodiments or aspects or examples, all that can be customized. So The next thing here, I've done the abstract and summary, this flowchart description. I'll come back to this when I do the actual flowchart drawing. We also have this boilerplate tool. So what this does is it generates text that doesn't have a figure to accompany it. So for example, let's say in the background section here, I'll put my cursor right here. And let's say this application relates to the Internet of Things. So I have this kind of example language here that I can drop in. And it's going to put in just kind of a couple paragraphs explaining, the Internet of Things here. And so, it just kind of drops in a couple stock paragraphs. So you don't have to go find that language from somewhere else or, wherever else you might have stored that. Another example, so I'll kind of create a spot here to insert a priority claim. Double click on that. So this is kind of interesting because it shows another feature that with the tools here, you can actually insert comments. So, we're not going to know when this is inserted. Well, what's the, what are we claiming priority to? What's the application number? What's the filing date? And so there's a comment here that says, these values need to be inserted. Another example that's kind of neat of something that we can do with boilerplate is, let's say I have this language for a mobile device and most of the language is the same across the application, but I never know what the reference number is going to be, right? It might be a different reference number in different applications. So you can actually insert variables. So this reference number, let's say 210 is the reference number I want to give to my mobile device. I click OK. And when it generates the language, a mobile device 210 includes one or more devices, blah, blah, blah. The mobile device 210. So in all instances, it's inserted this custom variable that I've put in. And again, this is another example of a comment. And actually another feature is that we can pull language from the title, selecting a network mode for a network device. And that's pulled from the title here. So it's some kind of interesting things we can do with the boilerplate. So then as far as the tools that interact with Visio, we have a drawing generator. I'll close out this one, open this tab. So we found that some drawings can be reused or just tweaked slightly across applications, or you may have like a baseline figure that you add to show a particular invention. So we have a library of figures and corresponding text that can be easily dropped into an application. So let's say that this application that I'm working on relates to cloud computing, and I want to show what's going on in the Visio, so I'll do this. And so I'll scroll down to wherever I want to insert this language in the document. Let's say, here in the detailed description, I click this cloud computing environment or double click it. It's going to ask me, well, what figure number is this? I'll put in figure 2. Okay. And then it's going to insert, you see it takes the Visio file and it's inserted this drawing here labeled with figure 2 and all, 200 in the corner. All the reference numbers have 2 in front of them all the way through. And then again, in the text of the specification, it's inserted, figure 2 is a diagram of an example environment 200. So all these reference numbers start with a 2. There's some comments in there that are helpful, like what does this figure show? And then again, a comment for, this is probably a figure that you would use as a starting point, but you might add a few devices that are specific or custom for the particular application you're working on. So there's a spot here that says kind of, fill this in as appropriate to customize this for your application. And then the rest of this, there's kind of standard language to explain, well, what's in a cloud computing system and, what's all the different hardware and virtual machines and different stuff. And then, again, explain your customized items here. And then kind of the end of this, this explanation of this drawing. So, just to show you that again, if I put in a different figure number, it would have done something differently. So let's say I also have this generic hardware components figure. I want to put this in as figure 3. Just double click that, put in a 3. Okay. Again, it's going to put it in Visio. There it is, some generic hardware, processors, memory. In figure 3 here, again, with most of the language filled in with a few comments on, hey, fill this in for kind of anything you add custom to this application. So that's kind of stock figures that you can insert. We also have a flowchart generator. So I'll click this flowchart. Again, you can have kind of different styles. I'll just click this generic flowchart. Ask me what claims do you want to use as the basis for your flowchart. I'll use the method claims here. What's the figure number? Let's say it's continuing in the sequence. It's figure 4. I finish that. Now it's going to read the claims and it's going to generate a flowchart drawing based on the claims. So you see I've got, receive by a network device, a network configuration profile, determine, initiate. Everything's kind of properly numbered and labeled. And this, this can be customized as well. For example, we have some clients who don't want them like where-in clauses in the flowchart blocks, or they don't want this by a network device here. So this kind of stuff is customizable as well. So that's the flowchart drawing. Now let's say I want to go and generate the actual text to kind of start to explain this. Within the ribbon here, this is this flowchart description tool that I skipped over. Again, we just have one style here in this demo, but you could have multiple different styles. It's going to ask me a few more questions in this wizard. Again, what claims do we want to use here as the basis for this? What's the figure number? Let's say figure 4. Do I want to add support for multiple dependent claims? That's kind of a nuanced thing for like intermediate generalizations or getting full, for EP practice, kind of getting language that supports a combination of all sorts of different claims. And this particular one is customized for this to ask me what's the hardware figure, so it can tie flowchart steps into the hardware. In my example, that's figure 3, that generic hardware environment. And then again, the intelligence to figure out the network device is what I care about. And so what it's going to do here is insert some paragraphs here. There's kind of like an intro paragraph. Figure 4 is a flowchart of example process 400. Again, it's inserted some language from the title. For this network device, we don't have a reference number for this, so it asked me to kind of fill this in. And there's some language referring back to the hardware components of that figure 3 that I inserted. And then if you look here, it kind of shows, as shown in figure 4, process 400 may include receiving a network configuration profile, blah, blah, blah. That's all in block 410. That kind of matches up here with what I have in 410, and so on. So it kind of does that for each of the steps in independent claim. And then there's kind of some language about, we can combine this with options from dependent claims. And then we have the language from the dependent claims inserted here as well. And then kind of a conclusion paragraph at the end. So, this is just kind of one way of drafting a flowchart description, and it's kind of customizable to your style. So a few other things I want to show, and these are kind of in the beta stage, so we'll see, hopefully they work. But I'm going to do an amendment. We have some kind of like prosecution tools here. So I'm going to turn on track changes, and I have a shortcut for that. So I'm going to make some amendment here, like add something, delete something, and delete a few different things, and then click this button, format as amendment, which basically does it like USPTO blackline. And you see there's kind of the strike through. There's the brackets, if it's 3 characters or fewer, underlining. So it's kind of an easy way to convert your track changes into a response, amendments that you can file with the USPTO. Another tool that we have that I won't show here, but it's automatic form filling. It kind of connects with, we use Foundation IP for docketing, and it connects in with our docketing system and pulls in information to automatically fill out really any form you want. ADS is probably the most interesting one because you could have a whole list of inventors, and it kind of pulls all that information in automatically. But fee transmittal sheets, really anything that you want to file. So now if I kind of go back and show you this document as a whole, right, we've kind of got all this language filled in. We were really able to fill in a lot of this patent application automatically. And, of course, there are some sections that are going to be manually drafted, like some of the sections that I've inserted are going to be tweaked. You're also going to, you're still going to be able to still have to draft, the claim set that I kind of started with here, and, the technical problem, the technical solution, the details of the invention itself. You'll probably still create some figures that are going to be created custom for this application. Again, we're really not trying to replace patent attorneys. We're really trying to kind of enhance what they're capable of and really focus their time on the more meaningful tasks. And also, quite frankly, make the job more fun. I mean, I use this tool every day, and it's pretty cool to be able to click a button and these things are all automatically generated. So one question I often get asked is about time savings. And what we found at Harrity is that we're saving somewhere between 2 hours and 5 hours per patent application off of like an already pretty efficient process, depending on the experience level of the drafter, plus saving at least 30 minutes of support staff time with automatic form filling. So we actually did a time study with our most experienced drafters, comparing 2018 numbers without Patent Draftr to 2019 numbers with Patent Draftr. And those folks were able to save 2 hours per patent application in 2019 with Patent Draftr. And that's consistent with kind of what we found with our customers as well. And I think less experienced people would likely save even more time. So that's all I had.
Yeah, on that note, Neil, I've gotten several people that we've, like some of our new hires who their numbers are way higher than at their previous employment, partly because of it helps with onboarding. Like they don't have to go hunting for templates and that kind of thing.
Right. When you say their numbers are higher, you mean
like the number of the number of applications they can draft in a month is significantly higher than it would have been at their previous place.
Yeah. So they're drafting more applications, because they're spending less time on each one.
Right. So we've got another question here. Terry has a question. Does this program work across all classes, including biotech/chemistry?
Yeah, so there are some, frankly, at Harrity, we don't do that kind of work. So we kind of built this to work on the stuff that we work on, and then we've expanded that out to other customers. And we would love to figure out how we can use this for chem and biotech. I think that there are features that definitely would work well. Abstract generation, summary, boilerplate, right? You want to drop in some language explaining a certain chemical structure or chemical group that's, kind of standard. But then there are also features like, I don't know how often in chemical cases you're doing a flow chart, right? So maybe if you have like product by process and you're explaining the process or something like that. But I'm not sure. I just don't know enough about what claims look like in biotech or pharma to see if there are consistencies and things that can be kind of mirrored across different claims, or sections of the claims that can be kind of extracted and put in the application. One of the comments that we've gotten, one of the things we definitely can do, we haven't done it yet, get comments about ranges. Like there may be, certain structures between 1% and 3% copper or something, right? But you want to kind of give there's a preferred range, but you want to give like different thresholds of ranges all the way down to kind of this preferred range. And that's something that we can do pretty easily. It's just kind of it's iteration in a loop that I think applies to not just maybe chemical or pharma or biotech, but also potentially some mechanical cases where you're talking about tolerance ranges. Someone had mentioned something about sequence IDs that could be helpful to be added. We would just love to chat with somebody who has experience and is interested in seeing what can be automated in those technical fields.
There's another question here from Stephen. Is there an amount of time, and you're probably best to answer this, Neil, is there an amount of time taken for an attorney to become proficient using the tool?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the time is involved with kind of getting the tool loaded with templates. Like if you don't already have templates, I mean, you're kind of operating behind the curve, right? So that's kind of step one, is to get what are the documents, and you probably have them. You're just, you have them in a folder somewhere, or, I don't know if you're working from like the previous application that you worked on, but that's kind of the time investment at the beginning. And then once you have those things, I mean, we've tried to make it really as self-explanatory as possible. Like, okay, I want to make an abstract. I just click these buttons, right? And there's a wizard that kind of walks me through the things that I need to be walked through. And we have had really we've onboarded, I don't know, we've onboarded a lot of people since we started using these tools. And we have not had a single person like unable to do it. And as Sean mentioned, people are actually getting up to speed and being able to hit the ground running a lot faster because we've kind of got this infrastructure built. That's a great question. Sean, you're muted.
Yeah, Steven's got another question, kind of a follow-up. How much does Harrity use the tool to standardize drafting against letting attorneys customize it themselves?
Yeah, so the standardized parts are really, the things that are used in that, a generic process, a hardware figure with processors and memories. Like, man, if you're trying to be stylistic with that stuff, there's no need to reinvent the wheel for some of these things, right? And so that kind of language and the things that we're dropping in are pretty standardized. And then, you kind of have free reign, and we have kind of a flow that we like to follow. But, the way that you describe the invention is kind of up to you, right? You're not really limited in, each invention has its own nuances and different ways to explain it, and some ways are better than others. But that's the idea.
That's the heart of the matter. Is kind of how we view it, right, Neil? It's we want the attorney focusing all their creativity on those claims and on that example embodiment, so that is fantastic. Right. And not reinventing the stuff. The analogy I sometimes use is we like to prep the operating room before the surgeon walks in, so that the surgeon can do the critical thing, and we want a very smart, very competent person doing that thing, and then somebody else can do some of the auxiliary stuff.
Yeah, somebody else being a robot.
Yeah.
What else? Well, yeah, if there are no other questions, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Wrap it up. You want to talk pricing real quick?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Usually a question.
Yeah, it's usually one of the questions. So right now, we're offering this as a pilot, partly because we want to find some people to do things a little differently than we do. So I would love to get somebody in chemical or pharma. Would love to get, we already do quite a bit of mechanical, quite a bit of electrical, quite a bit of semiconductor fab. What are some of the other things? Obviously the software.
Yeah, anything software related.
Yeah. So we're offering it pretty inexpensively. We're offering it for $1,000 a month for 6 months as a pilot, and we're hoping to learn from our clients how to improve the software, how to make it better, because different people have great ideas. So that's what it is. Unlimited use for all of your staff for $1,000 a month, and frankly, a lot of that goes into our costs, which is just the servers required to make it all run. And then after that, we're going to probably do some sort of per seat licensing if it's a good fit with the organization, and so we'll take a look at that. But that's kind of what the pricing model looks like at this point.
Great. All right, well, thank you again for joining us. It looks like we'll end a little bit early today. As mentioned, once the recording of this is ready, I'll go ahead and send it out. I'll include Neil, Sean, and my own contact info in there so that you guys can follow up with any questions. I'll also include a link to our other webinars. We do have analytics webinars, diversity, best practices. Neil has some really great best practices tips as well under practical patents. So I'll get that all over to you guys. Thanks again.
You guys need to follow Neil on LinkedIn if you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, follow Neil, follow all of us, follow our Harrity page. I'll include those links in the follow-up email as well. And if you guys do have any other questions, we'd love to hear from you, or suggestions, anything that you want to see in the tool, anything to make the webinars better, we'd love to hear it. So thank you again for attending, and I hope everybody has a wonderful 4th of July. Maybe we can actually see people this year.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Thanks a
Stay
lot,
cool,
everybody.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank you guys.